A delegation of rabbis from New York City went to meet with Zohran Mamdani, their mayor, and what they found out should terrify you. A warning written on the wall.
I met the mayor-elect in late August, after the primaries. Several prominent and liberal New York City rabbis spent an hour with him. We entered with open hearts and open minds. Most of us had never met the candidate, and we were interested in taking the measure of the man. As the meeting unfolded, our mood steadily darkened and our fears increased. Zohran Mamdani is an ideologically committed, dogmatic opponent of the Zionist idea. He is not simply a critic of Israel. Policy differences are central to democratic discourse and entirely legitimate. But Mayor-elect Mamdani does not believe in coexistence. He does not believe in two states for two peoples. His opposition to Israel is existential. He believes that Israel has no right to exist at all as a Jewish state in any territory. This, of course, is the position of Israel's most implacable foes. It is the ideology of Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and their supporters in the West. The reason this talented politician with such impressive verbal skills has been unable to convincingly explain away his support for the refrains, globalize the Intifada, free Palestine, from the river to the sea, is that these slogans represent his core beliefs. He doesn't hide it. To the contrary, he's proud of it. The struggle for the Palestinian liberation was at the core of my politics and continues to be, he proclaimed in a 2023 keynote speech to the Democratic Socialists of America. None of this is about coexistence. What most of those who shout globalize the Intifada mean is October 7th. For most of them, free Palestine means October 7th. From the river to the sea means October 7th.
Guys, October 7 was the definition of the attempt to manifest from the river to the sea. It just feels like one of these videos we're going to have in the archives when you're going to watch in the future and study how did New York City fall. Why did all the Jews flee New York City? What happened? What went wrong? Why didn't anyone warn us? That's what people in the future are going to come and say. Mark my words, undoubtedly, the leadership in New York City, and not only the leadership, the people who voted for that leadership, are representing something that is very wrong, something that is very sinister. And I'm not saying this lightly. I am not a Jew. I am a Druze. I'm one of the small Arab minorities, one of the many Arab minorities living in Israel. The most peaceful nation in the Middle East, the only democracy in the Middle East. I know from myself what a great place is Israel and how Israel is everything but the lies that these guys are telling you. So when I hear people come and lie like this about my country, then I gotta warn you about it. Listen, they're lying to you. They are lying to you. They're promoting something very sinister, very wrong. And you're going to pay the price if you don't wake up. And if you want to see something very dark, let's hear what the father of Zohran Mamdani had to say about the fear of the Jewish people to stay in New York. Talking about a villain vibe. That's going to leave some chills down your spine. So let's hear it.
Yes, the anxiety is real. But the anxiety is not about Zohran. The anxiety is about what Zohran symbolizes. The anxiety is that the world out there is changing. The anxiety is that the war in Gaza has accelerated that change in the world. The anxiety is that the world inside the Jewish community in New York is changing.
Let me prove to you right now in one sentence, how is he lying? At the same time that the war in Gaza is happening, 2023 to 2025, at the same time there was the war in Sudan. You know how many people died in Sudan? About 400,000 humans butchered by who? By the Muslims, by the Arabs. Why? Because they're black and because they're Christians. Actually, in the last 10 days, more humans died in Sudan by the hands of the Muslims than the entire death toll of the war in Gaza, which we all know that most of the deaths, or let's say at least half of the deaths, were Hamas, and it's more than that. The others were not deliberately by Israel. None of them, not a single civilian would have died in Gaza if Hamas would have not invaded Israel, slaughtered Israelis, and kidnapped their women and children. Not a single Gazan would have been injured if Hamas would have gave back the children that it kidnapped and surrendered and said, hey guys, sorry, we're not going to do this again. Take our weapons. Or you know what? Not even surrender. Just give back the women and children. But then what he's telling you, as if the genocide that happened in Gaza is the wake-up call for the world. He knows what is happening in Sudan. He knows what is happening in Kenya. He knows what is happening in all around the Muslim world. He knows all the crimes and atrocities that his religion is committing against every single minority on the face of this earth. But listen how he keep manipulating the truth.
That they are losing control over their young. It is an anxiety I've experienced in South Africa, where the Afrikaners felt they were losing control over their young and over their intellectuals. And that was one of the most important forces pushing them to look for a different way forward with apartheid. The English never felt that compulsion. Anyway, so we don't know what will come out of this. The Jewish community suddenly is open to multiple futures, and I can just hope that there'll be wiser voices guiding them.
Wow. Talking about a villain's vibe. Trying to smoothly paint Israel again as the apartheid, as if it's in common knowledge that they're the bad guys, and now they need to choose a path. Either align with us, which is, what does it mean with us? Him and his son, they oppose the entire existence of a Jewish state. That is just how crazy that is. There's only one Jewish state, guy. And by the way, nothing in Israel belonged to Islam. Nothing. Nothing in general belonged to Islam outside of Saudi Arabia. Any place that have Islam in it outside of Saudi Arabia happened because of very violent invasion and colonization, because of ethnical cleansing that the community there suffered when Islam invaded, killed everyone, enslaved the rest, and forced them to convert or die. So when someone like that is coming and talking to you, you know what? Let's talk about apartheid. How many Christian churches do we have in Sudan? How many Jews, how many Christians can live peacefully with equal rights in a Muslim country? How many? I'm waiting. Not a single word. Not a single word. So this so-called activism and caring about innocent lives is a lie. They don't care, because if they did, they would care about what's happening in Sudan. If they did, they would care what's happening in Yemen. They would care about what's happening in so many places around the world, that when you take it in terms of numbers and scale, is just way more grand than what's happening in Israel and Palestine. But if you think for a second that their obsession about Israel, it's not about human rights, it's not about justice, it's about annihilating the only Jewish states from the face of this earth, which is start with the Jews and then go to the Christians and go for the rest. So first they went to the Shabbat people and then they went to the Sunday people. So just understand, why is this very, very concerning. More than 33% of the Jews in New York voted for Zohar Mamdani. I think before October 7, there'll probably be more than 70%. So I think October 7 and the rise of anti-Semitism and, unveiling of the masks of anti-Semitism, of Nazism, and all kind of stuff that we saw just publicly getting like completely exposed and walking in broad daylight anymore, not even hiding it, have made many Jews to wake up and realize, oh my God, what is going on? But there's still a very strong core of Jews in New York that still support these kind of people, that still don't see what's happening. And I'm just here to tell you, I speak the language, I know the culture, I come from the Middle East, I know the players. Trust me when I tell you that. I know the players, I know their dialogue, and I can tell you for a fact that they have a very, very hidden, sinister agenda. Not only for the Jews, but also for the Christians, for New York City, for the rest of the United States, for the rest of the West. And anyone who just ignores it, they can hate us as much as they want for coming and warning them. They can get upset as much as they want, but we're here to come and tell you that you are being fooled, you're being tricked, and you should be careful. Don't trust these people. Zohran Mamdani and his followers are not your friends.